By the Elder's sideburns, I'd no notion anyone was in the Vale. Nilf... What a mess. What...
There, milady,
whispered one of the scouts.
left of the path.
Meve squinted. The Nilfgaardians had taken shelter from the falling snow under a rocky outcropping. The smell of roasting meat wafted from their campfire, and echoes of laughter could be heard. The black-clad soldiers had reason to celebrate. They had just decimated Meve's company without even drawing their weapons. Meve's gaze caught something else. A metal container into which the Nilfgaardians tossed bones once they'd been gnawed clean. It looked strangely familiar. Only after a moment did the Queen understand it was an overturned Lyrian helmet dug out of the snowy grave of one of her men.
The whoresomes.
Meve hissed.
They'll pay for this.
Meve, asking you last time, keep a cool head.
Whispered Gabor.
You want vengeance? I get it. But think of the cost. If so much as a hair gets plucked from Owain's head, Bruver will never forgive you. And you can kiss any hope of aid goodbye.
Silence followed. Finally to be broken by one of the scouts.
Milady, what's the order? Do we attack?
No.
Said the Queen after long deliberation.
But milady, they...
I know what they did. And that I shall never forget nor forgive.
Said Meve, placing a hand on her scout's shoulder.
But breaking Dwarven law only plays into the Nilfgaardians' hand, causing us to lose allies and our chance for victory.
Meve brushed the snow from her trousers and straightened her spine.
Avenge our comrades we shall. Not here, but in the fields of Lyria and Rivia.
The Lyrians resumed their march with heavy, beleaguered steps. Their path still piled high with the snow brought down by the Nilfgaardians. While passing the mining settlement of Kolstock, Meve heard the sounds of battle.
Hey-ho! Into the fray, lads!
Expecting she would see monsters swarming dwarves, the Queen set off at a gallop to the rescue. Her braid blew about in the wind like a banner, showing her men in which direction to attack. The dwarves she saw, however, were not engaged in a battle against Shaelmars and Barbigazes. No, they were going at one another. Luckily, no weapons had yet been drawn, but given the dwarves have hands the size of bread loaves, this did not necessarily mean there would be no deaths.
Oi, lads!
Roared Gabor Zigrin.
What's this foolishness? Calm the hell down, damn it!
Gabor's intervention proved successful. The dwarves limited themselves to verbal jousting. Meve, who was no stranger to barrack room talk, nonetheless turned crimson at the dwarves' cursing. Piecing together the obscenities, Meve concluded they were debating an old quarrel about the height of a certain mountain, or rather of the twin peaks atop it. One of them lay in the territory of Clan Dahlberg, while the other in the Hoogsland. Each family felt their peak was the highest, all measurements indicating the contrary being total fabrications.
Queen?
Started Gabor, nervously chewing his moustache.
They're asking if you, as yin impartial and a fair-minded wench to boot, wouldn't you wish to settle their idiot squabble once and for all?
Meve knew well that this type of age-old quarrel could easily end in bloodshed, so she resolved to help. Representatives of the two clans gave her a strange mechanism she was to use to measure elevation. All that was left was for the Queen to button her coat up to the neck and scale the twin peaks.
Time to end this glycid feud, once and for all. Time to end this glycid...
When she and her force had traveled half the way to the first, she heard a long roar that made snow shells detach and descend. Without waiting for her scouts to return with reports, Meve drew her sword.
Eyes up, lads! They're flying straight for us!
Tell me you jest.
You sure about that?
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
You mad? Don't say that!
Aye.
Quite the clever little contraption they gave us. Work of a gnome, of course. Oh, sorry, turnips back for an encore.
Should've listened to me old lady.
I fear not the fake guide.
This is, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
Something from nothing? It's exactly what I do.
Take those measurements and let's be gone from this place.
The Lyrians managed to repel the monsters and reach both peaks. Upon each, Meve ordered her men to take the measurements. While waiting, she admired the breathtaking view of the Mahakaman Massif. The dwarven contraption left no room for doubt. The peak within the Dahlberg clan territory was 2 feet higher than that within Hoog territory. Gabor was clearly displeased with the results.
Damn it all! I'd hoped you'd prove Bruver's clan was in the right. He'd have been content to see the Dahlbergs knocked down a peg or two, and, possibly, he'd have been more inclined to help you,
said the dwarf in frustration. Then, after a pause, he added,
Although, only you saw what the device showed, Queen. Perhaps you could, recalibrate the results a wee bit?
'Tis most lowly and ignoble.
Ake cried out in protest.
A knight his honor would never stain with such a lie.
To lie would be simple, true.
Said Meave.
Yet to forget the matter would be so much harder. No, Gabor, I shall tell the truth.
The Queen's tone made it clear the discussion was over. Gabor let the matter lie, and Meave's force began its descent down the mountainside. The dwarves of both clans had been waiting with bated breath for the expedition's return and report. As soon as Meave announced the results, the Dahlbergs rolled barrels of beer out into the square and began to celebrate. Naturally, the Hoogs were disappointed, yet they accepted Meave's results as final. At last, they had come to trust her.
Dalbergs are the dwarfs we need. Every hoogs are dunder heed. Dalbergs are...
For frostbite, you'd best avail yourself of some onion juice. Even better if you had a wee nip of vodka. Though, once we're neath Carbon, we'll find our way to the tavern, set our arses down by the fire, and sip mugs of mulled wine. Once we're neath...
As Meave neared Langbridge, she ordered her bugler to announce her arrival, then retired to her tent to freshen up. Gascon was already inside, awaiting her.
I do not seem to recall summoning you.
In that case, I must tell you to fret not. Nothing wrong with your memory. I've come with no agenda. Spontaneously, call it, to chat.
Then I propose you leave. Just as spontaneously, call it. I must don fresh clothes. I'm to see the Elder soon, and I'd prefer to not smell of horse sweat.
Doubt it'd make much difference to him. And be assured, I know what I speak of. When last we met, I found myself standing downwind of him. A pungent experience.
Well, you were saved the experience of his breath. So pungent I thought I might faint.
Well, to revive you, pinch you awake, I'm sure would be quite a pleasure.
Gascon, I beg your pardon. Ugh, I shall have nightmares now.
Not tonight. For I fear you might not sleep at all. You see, there's something you ought to know. And decidedly before you meet with Bruver. The sites we cleared of beasts. I ferreted a bit. Noted something peculiar. Any notion what it was?
None. The monumental dwarven architecture, perhaps?
Bones, my dear Meave. Dwarven bones. Now, guess what I found on them?
Wait, don't dare give me any hints. Bite marks.
Of course. After all, they'd been gnawed clean of all flesh by monsters, incidentally making it quite easy to spot other markings. Ones made by axes and swords. To be certain, I showed the bones to our medics, and they confirmed my conclusion.
Meaning what? That the entire clan, the Fuchses,
did not perish due to an invasion of beasts from the depths. The monsters merely ate the bodies and occupied empty homes. Now, I shared my discovery with Gabor, and guess what he did? He panicked. He started to squirm, babble nonsense. I wager my right arm, he's hiding something.
Blast. Overly eager to aid us from the start he was. I might have sensed something. I shall have him summoned at once. And I thank you, Gascon. I won't forget this.
Minutes later, Gabor stood before the Queen. At first, he tried to mislead her with evasive answers, but as her pointed questions demolished one clumsy excuse after another, he had to give in.
Oi. As King Desmond said after a hefty squirt in his hose, we can't sweep this under the rug.
If you think I welcome jests in this moment, you err. My fingers itch to summon the hangman.
Right. So... 'tis true. I misled you. On our clan elder's orders, supposed to make sure you destroyed Burr's Rump and Davor's Abyss thoroughly enough to leave nae a trace.
What? Why? What did they wish to hide?
They was home to the Fruxes, our mortal enemies. They'd been a-boiling our heinies for ages, thumbing their noses, taking what they want when they want, and the Elder-in-Chief didn't gie a ploughing whit. So to stop them, our clan, we did the unpardonable. The Ziggurat elders saw their chance and they...
Gods. So you were responsible for the deaths of all those dwarves?
Me? I didn't raise a finger. Tried to stop them, in fact.
You claim not to have taken part, but neither did you do anything to stop the massacre.
What was I to do exactly? The elders had decided nae a dwarf would listen to me.
You might have informed the Elder-in-Chief. The guilty would have been punished.
The guilty? You didn't ken Bruva. He'd punish the whole clan. Women, children, nae exceptions. Maeve, Queen, I'm begging you. He canna ever learn of this. Aye, I want a hack flame too when I think what the elders done. But t'other way it'd bring but more pain and death.
I need to consider what's right. Meanwhile, Gascon, make sure Gabor remains our guest.
Of course. I'll let you know if he so much as rolls his eyes towards an escape route.
Welcome to me, eh?
Best cover your head in the mountains.
The elder gets a wee stranger. Stay.
Hold. Do a...
Bruver stood by the bridge like a statue, arms crossed, eyes squinting. Meve sighed inside. She stood little chance of having a pleasant chat.
Elder-in-Chief, sir.
No Sharon and Grayson here, lass. Plowed humans. Always out to fix things, always end up cocking them up. You think you're due glory, do you? Monster Slayer Meve? Patroness of dwarves? Blast it. What do you think? Why didn't I exterminate those beasts myself, eh? Go on, tell me!
For you.
For I didn't want to. For something didn't fit, damn it. So I resolved to not destroy their nests and evidence till I learned the truth of who done it.
Postponed it all those years expressly. Though your subjects were dying.
I didn't need no lectures from the likes of you. Justice must be served. That's worth any price. And I was close. Had leads. And now, it's all gone to hell. You flooded Devore's abyss. You brought Burrow's rump down on itself. And I'll never ken who killed the Fuchses. Understand? Never!
My sincere apologies. I did not know.
Course you didn't, humans. First they cock it up, then they ask how it works. Ah. I'm most eager to give that breed of yours a yank and kick you out beyond the gate. But I canna, for the clans are grateful to you. Fools. Fools, all fools. They forced me to give you an audience, official-like, with witnesses. All at the foot of Mount Carbon. Come on, then. Time to move on. And I'm going to wring you out so hard you'll wish you never left that Nilfgaardian dungeon.
Bruver set off at a brisk pace, cursing under his breath. The Queen took a deep breath, counted to 5 in her head, and set off after him.
Always good to see it.
We shall return to this.
No skin of.
What? Oh, let humans need.
Dwarves demonstrate innovative thinking in many domains. Metallurgy, engineering, architecture. Yet there is one in which they could not be bothered. Naming. For this reason, the bridge that linked the Mahakam Pass with Mount Carbon was simply named Langbridge. Meve learned it was a thoroughly fitting name. Having stopped for a breath halfway across the road suspended over a deep chasm, the Queen could see neither end of the bridge, both concealed by thick clouds.
Amazing,
whispered the Queen.
I feel as though we traversed the very sky.
The Queen and her retinue were nearing Mount Carbon when Meve heard a cry. It was Xavier.
Hold! Hold!
Meve drew in her reins abruptly. Her mare neighed and reared, lifting the Queen above her formation of men. From that height, she saw the last pier of the bridge crumbling. The dwarves at the head of the procession were unable to stop in time and plummeted, screaming into the abyss.
What's the meaning of this, gods damn it?
Bruver roared.
Fetch the engineers! Now!
The Queen was striving to calm her spooked mount when she sensed something swish past her ear. Out of nowhere, a Scoia'tael band had appeared at the rear of the column. Before anyone could react, elven archers had felled the rear guard. The soldiers lay on the bridge's stone surface with arrows in their backs. Meve was trapped. In one direction lay the chasm, in the other, a fierce foe. She had no choice but to stand and fight.
You are mine!
We trapped your Grace, but we can try and fight our way through.
Should've listened to me, old lady.
For Mahakam!
Special prize. Just for you, love.
I smell a leak.
Nay, Dwan Vacumest. Show me the coin or sod off.
This harvest will be leaping black-clad heads.
Think you ballbags can do whatever the devils you please? This is Mahakam!
Let us sing the song of steel!
The unworthy shall be punished.
Blood and neck ends. Semillion Vat.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Death to humans!
Have her done in a jiffy.
None shall tread on us!
A drum of deal, a bit of soldering, a rivet or two, and it's good as new.
No! Let her, Enna! She must die!
Their strength combined, the Lyrians and dwarves managed to defeat the Scoia'tael. The guerrillas had weakened the last span of the bridge, turning the crossing into a deadly trap. Had Xavier, who noticed the weakened structure at the last instant, not called out, all would have fallen into the chasm. The Lyrians managed to capture the unit commander. She stood, her head raised high, and when Meve glared at her, she did not avert her eyes.
What is your name, elf?
Abayeth me a parstwan.
She said,
Thank you, Reynard. I know well what she said. Kiss my arse, is that truly the best you can muster?
I'd rather show you exactly what I can muster. Tell them to unbind me.
You got your opportunity. On the battlefield. Will you not tell me what they call you? Fine. It's all the same to me. I'm more interested to know how you came to be here. Who sent you?
No one. It was my decision to kill you, and thus avenge Eldain. You've elven blood on your hands. The blood of the elves of the Moulderwood.
I regret the events of the Moulderwood. I did not wish those elves' deaths. Yet they left me no choice.
What choice would you give a murderer who invaded your home?
You know I envy you. To see the world solely as black or white, it must simplify things so. Enough. I've heard all I wish to hear.
But I haven't. Did you fall on your heed, elf, eh? If you want to fight humans, go on and do it. You cannot talk sense to idiots and they here, damn it. Mahakam is and will be neutral.
You cannot be neutral. To Dwan, you are either their foe or their dog. Mahakam has stood aside, sleeping long enough. That is why we struck it in its very heart, as a call to battle. A call to brethren whom you, Elder, have kept from the world too long.
I have kept him away. I've been bloody right to do so. You want to play at war, you numpties? You want to force the Pontar to flow upstream? Gang right ahead. Good riddance, I say. Gan kill, gan die if you fancy. But God's damn it, leave us alone. Yeah, I should kill you. With my own hands. I should cut your throat, put you out of your misery. That's what you want, innit? To die? To die a stupid death? Well, I'll not grant you that. Nay, nay, I'll lock you in a tower. Sit there 3 centuries, and you just might grow a brain.
Bruva Hoog gazed after the shackled elf as she was led away. Meve expected him to continue fuming, cursing her. But the dwarf stood silent, and his old eyes, half concealed by brows bushy as a forest floor, showed not anger, but the deepest sadness. Dwarven engineers made quick work of repairing the crumbled bridge span.
Look, Mount Carbon.
Damn. And I thought Novigrad was big.
So the elves are against us. Truth be told, I supported the Scoia'tael before. Long-eared bastards. Raising our own saplings against us in rebellion. So the elves...
The Lyrians stepped inside Mount Carbon's bowels. Neve rode while looking upwards, admiring the intricately carved ceiling, gilded walls, monumental bas-reliefs carved from basalt. Yet this was no time to admire the sights. Bruverhoog had summoned her to speak.
I thank you for your invitation, Elder.
My invitation? Choice term, lass. You wangled your way in here. Long I've lived, but ne'er have I seen a wench so stubborn.
With all due respect, do you not feel like a pot conversing with a kettle?
Ha! True enough. Changes of mind didn't come easy to me, but they do come at times. Human wars concern me not at all. For so many they are, who could count them? Near a year goes by without one wanking king invading another's realm. A dog with scabies is less restless. That's why, this morning, I aimed to send you off with nothing. Mattered not what the clans were saying. Rivia, Schmivia, who gives a sheep's fart? But that was this morn, before that daft wench and her pups attacked. Nilfgaard supports the Scoia'tael, it's common knowledge. Nilfgaard uses them. Well, I'm nae worse, and I choose to use Queen Meve.
So what use would you make of me, if I might ask? You've a plan?
Aye, the kind dwarves like best. Simple, but sneaky. Like to give Nilfgaard a warning, you ken. If you're going to rile my dwarves, throw 'em into the Scoia'tael ranks. You'll regret it, aye? But I'd like to issue the warning without declaring war. All clear to you so far? So, when you march out of Mahakam, you'll find a company of our foot dwarves waiting out with the gate. Officially, volunteers enlisting with you against my will. And you're to put them at the fore next time you face Nilfgaard. Want the Blackclads to break their teeth on our bucklers, get a taste of our axe blades. After that, dare say they'll think twice before they send more Scoia'tael into these hells.
I do not... Thank you, Elder. You restore my hope that I shall have my home back in the end.
Faith can move mountains, aye, but it can't do much about borders. I've watched you close, and must admit you're a plucky lass. That enough for Nilfgaard? Can I be sure?
We will see. We shall know soon. I would like to march at once. So by your leave...
Nay, not granted. At once? What's that mean? Our laws are clear. Guests are to be sent off with a thundering feast. Even the humans.
Bruver, as was Bruver's wont, insisted. So the Queen accepted the invitation, but as was her wont, set a condition. The feast was to last but one night, and not, as was the wont of local custom, an entire week. Neve was on her way back to her company when who should step in front of her if not Gabor?
To what do I owe this pleasure? Do the Zigrins wish to use me once more? Accomplish aught else with my aid?
Could be, but if so, take none of my concern.
Why's that?
For I've resolved to leave Mahakam for all time.
And where will you go?
Then again, wherever you lead me.
I beg your pardon.
Your Grace, Maeve, I betrayed your trust, tricked you outright. In spite of that, you kept my confidence, risking everything. To say I'm grateful is just a wee understatement. I'm indebted to you, deeply so. Please let me pay it off. Let me fight at your side, heed to hip you.
Gabor, vindictive I am not.
Oh, thank you, Maeve.
Yet neither am I stupid. You may join our ranks, I agree. Yet trick me once more, in the tiniest manner, and I shall show you no mercy. Is that clear?
Chastened, Gabor merely nodded to confirm. Neve extended her hand for the dwarf to kiss as a sign of submission. Yet he simply wrapped his arms around her waist and squeezed. When the sun had retired behind the peaks, the underground city came alive with the sound of bugles, bagpipes, and horns. The dwarves emerged out into the central square and danced exuberantly, sparks kicking up from their hobnail boots. The usually crabby Elder-in-Chief Hoog proved a cordial host that evening.
Let's drink, lest our neck shafts grow cobwebs!
Suddenly a messenger arrived. Broover lifted his copper horn to his ear and listened with furrowed brow.
What's that? Speak up!
When she saw a sour grin on his face, Meve knew the tidings were not good. Yet she did not suspect they pertained to her directly.
Meve, you expecting anyone?
How's that?
Runner says a delegation's arrived at Carbon. Freylyria and Rivia got a Nilfgaardian escort.
How dare they? Traitors. Who leads it?
You'd best sit.
Who leads the delegation?
It's your son, Willem, I fear.
Willem?
Mahakam remains neutral as regards all your squabbles. I trust I needn't remind you. So I'll have no scrambling or shoving, and certainly no bloodshed. Point of fact, I'd prefer it if you...
I wish to speak to him.
I'd forbid you, but, as I said, never seen a more stubborn wench. Alrighty then, jabber away with him. Just remember, hands to yourself.
Neve spotted banners, a Lyrian eagle upon one surrounded by Nilfgaard's black rags. Her hands became fists, showing how helpless she felt. Then her son and rival, Willem, emerged from behind a row of Imperial footmen.
My. I should apologize. It seems I missed the coronation. Congratulations, my son. Who was it who placed the crown? General Epdahi?
Count Caldwell.
Ah, yes. Our elder statesman. Why have you come here, of all places? To acquire arms for Nilfgaard?
As my official mission, yes. Yet unofficially, I wish to speak with you. I trust you've had tidings from the field. Edirn turned to ash and dust. Vizimir murdered Redania in chaos. Foltest forced to strike a pact by his vassals betrayed, Henselt the same.
This limerick, will it come to a point?
Why, yes. To the same as this war. Mother, I beg you, you must see it. Nilfgaard's victory is inevitable. Surrender now, and I shall show you mercy. For later it'll be too late.
There will be no later. We shall repel them, drive them south at the points of our pikes.
This we, Mother? Who precisely do you mean? You stand alone.
An impression many might have indeed. Yet I've allies. Those long loyal, and those new.
Where, Mother? In Zerrikania? For here, in the north, why, there are none. The fight is done.
Your friends from Nilfgaard will learn that is simply not true, when their ignorance bites them in the arse.
So you aim to persist? Whatever for?
For our freedom. For independence.
Curious. I could have sworn it was for your ambition, to soothe your wounded pride. When I was crowned, a fact you deride, but that makes it no less true, I swore the good of my subjects would guide me. And a war we are doomed to lose cannot in any way benefit them.
And slavery can. You know well the Blackclads put peasants in chains, like cattle.
Reprehensible, I agree, but...
And resettlement? Forced labor? Cruel laws that make death the punishment for the slightest offenses? Are those benefits? Well, answer me!
I see I will not sway you, Mother. A shame, though I take comfort in the fact I tried. And now, adieu.
Oh no, I, not you, will decide when this conversation is over.
Oh, have we anything else to discuss?
Naturally. How did you know you would find me here?
I received Nilfgaardian reports to the effect that you've been seen in the pass.
Oh, roses are red and so are your cheeks, my son. As ever when you're caught in a lie. Lyria is 2 weeks' travel hence. Had you received word only once I was here, we'd have been long gone from Mahakam by the time you assembled a force and completed the march. No. You were forewarned of our intended route. It means I've a traitor in my ranks. Another one. Get out of my sight, villain. And pray we only ever face one another on neutral ground.
Maeve struggled inside not to turn and gaze once more at her son. He'd changed since they'd last faced each other, grown manlier, and he wore the crown well. The Queen returned to the banquet hall. Her advisors shot her questioning glances, curious what she had discussed with Bruver. But Maeve decided to keep the details to herself. One of them wore a Nilfgaardian lead around his neck. Until she knew who, she would have to remain vigilant.
Feasting's done, Reynard. We must consider our next move.
I've thought on it, Your Grace. We've strength enough to hit the foe, but still not the numbers to face him in open battle.
So what do you propose?
This war we cannot win alone, nor even with the dwarves at our side. But if we secure a victory, small yet symbolic, we shall show the other realms of the north all is not yet lost. Thus, I propose we attack behind the front lines, somewhere well clear of any major Imperial force.
Where would you suggest?
I'm considering Angren. To begin with, a thickly wooded marshy land, always helpful in clandestine operations. Secondly, the land strategically important, as it's the chief source of building material for Nilfgaard's fleets.
All too little, I fear. Since we require a victory that would be symbolic, we must strike where it shall hurt. And Angren...
Just recently welcomed a new regent, in the person of Count Coldwell, my third argument. Naturally, if Your Majesty wishes, I'm prepared to present alternatives to this.
No need. We march at dawn.
Maeve had toiled, cajoled, persuaded, and gained the dwarves' support. She left Mahakam strengthened, markedly. Even so, the Queen was in a foul mood. For it was clear a traitor, a viper, nested among the Lyrians. Someone who had conveyed the Queen's plans to her foe. From this moment on, Maeve would need to weigh every word she uttered, even in the presence of her closest associates.
Your Grace, we must plot our course forward. Shall we take the western passage into Angren, or...
Not now.
When, then? Dawn approaches, yet we know nothing of where...
I will not repeat myself.
The Queen knew she would learn the traitor's identity in the end. If need be, she would tear the name from the throat of another turncoat, Count Caldwell. Maeve drooled at the prospect of seeing Caldwell in chains, then passing him to the hangman.
Saddle the horses. I shall take the fore.
The time for diplomacy, for preparations and negotiations had gone. Maeve was to attack her foe at last, and she could not wait to do so.